I'm just going to kind of get things started because I got the agenda. And there's a lot, but I would like to kind of go through, not to go through it super really quick, but I will cover a lot of information. But the meeting's going to be recorded and I will post it. And you can also, I'm going to have a bunch of links and stuff like that. So what I'll do, actually, I'll do this instead of burying everybody in the chat with all this stuff. When this meeting's over, I'm going to send an email with all of the links and documentation that we had. The only thing I'm going to share right now is the minutes from last year so we can approve them. But after that, you don't have to worry about anything. I will send an email of everything that is pertinent to this meeting. So I will kind of get that show on the road too. Okay, so I'm going to start right now, and then Mr. Folk will be secretary for the evening, taking minutes.
Yes, I got the roll call as people came in.
Yes. So if you have the agenda, if anybody wants to bring the agenda up, I will actually post that again. I'll post right now. I'll actually post the minutes from last year because you always have to approve the previous year's minutes. So here's the minutes from 2019. Okay. And then last but not least, here's the agenda for right now. Okay. It's just a PDF, so it's easy to open, hopefully. Let me make sure no one is in the guest room waiting. Okay, we're good. Okay. All right, so we'll just follow the agenda. Mr. Kevin, if you could kind of guide us along.
Of course.
I'll have it open on my computer too. So.
Call to order this meeting. I already got the roll call and the approval for minutes from last meeting.
Just real quick, I need someone to do a call to order. So someone would like to say, I'd like to call this meeting to order and have someone second it. That would be great. Come on, Nate. There you go.
To call this meeting to order.
Second.
I'm sorry I don't have a gavel for you. It's so much more exciting.
I really wish we had one.
Yes. Second?
Second.
Okay. So, Kev, if you could record that, that would be fantastic.
Yep.
As our official parliamentary procedure person. And then roll calls, my favorite part. We'll all introduce everybody. I'll tell you what, I'll just call your name and then you can do the intro rather than figure out who's next. So I will go first. I am Fred McCarthy. This is actually my 14th year working for Central Monco. This is the second year of this program, the Video, Sound, and Music Production program. I spent 10 years teaching co-teaching the visual communications program, which was actually, this became a spinoff of that program because we saw a much larger need for more students in video and sound and music production. So we decided to split and create another program. Then I spent 2 years up in administration and I liked it. I got something out of it. Wasn't my cup of tea at this point. So now I'm back down in the classroom. I miss being with the students. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And up next, Kevin.
Hello, my name is Kevin Folk. This is my first year teaching at Central Monco. I spent the last 6 years running front of house sound for venues all across the region. I've been a touring front of house engineer for a few bands, and I've also worked in radio and done my music videos for other artists as well. And that's all I got.
Oh, and also, he was a former OAC member, so be careful, people. You might become a teacher. All right. How about you, Charles? How's it going?
Hey, I'm Charles. I graduated in 2015 from Western Montgomery Career and Tech Center as an electric student. And then I got into audiovisual, worked my way up through 2 churches, got a job at Royal Caribbean, did 2 years on a cruise ship. Can you fun time, awful pay. And then
jump a bunch.
Yeah, it was fun. And then I went to Feld Entertainment after that, and I was the assistant head of audio for Disney on Ice.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah,
That's cool.
March 14th, but that's another story.
That's great. Thanks, Charles. Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Liz Holsinger, and I am Luke's mom. So I'm the parent representative, I think, tonight,
There you
or one
go.
of them. One of them. So Luke started last year, so this is his second year in the program.
And Luke will be the first to tell you what an amazing program and how it's changed his life, but that's for another time. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. All right, Nate, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nate. I've been a professional video editor for the last 10 or 11 years now. I started off in New York, working for a small food-related company. We all only did food things. That lasted for about 5 years, and then I moved down to Philly for about 2 years, working in real estate as head of production for a production studio that only focused on real estate. And then for the last 3 years, I've been a freelancing video editor for various companies, between doing commercials, YouTube ads, YouTubers, pharma companies, tech-related things. Yeah. And that brings me here.
All right, thank you, Nate. Pat, how you doing?
Good. My name is Patrick Dolan. I own ProCine LLC. We're in Plymouth Meeting, not too far away from the school. I've been in business about 10 years. This has been by far the hardest.
Yeah.
I do a mix of corporate work, commercials, documentary stuff. I have a lot of actually a good deal of like foreign clients, or I do work when foreign producers come to the US. So with the flight restrictions and stuff like that, it really sort of killed a lot of my workflow, but I am grateful for a lot of my nonprofit clients and a lot of schools that I do work for. They've been kind of keeping me in business this past year. So live streaming has sort of taken on a new thing with me, where it was usually recording the tape and putting it out on YouTube. Now everybody's looking to live stream their, presentations, their events that they would usually hold at a venue or whatnot. So had to kind of shift gears and take on take on a new role in facilitating those things. But it's been interesting. I do it all. I do cinematography, editing, producing. And yeah, that's about it. That's about
Awesome. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Pat. The lovely and talented Joe Dagny.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Joe Dagny is my name. One of the school counselors at Central Monco, and I'm just here really to say thank you for everything that you're doing. And if I could take one quick second to let Mr. Folk know, and Luke, what a wonderful job you guys did with our school video. I'm sure that may come up later, it may not, but I see Luke there, and Kevin, I just wanted to say thank you guys in front of your advisory committee.
Of course.
All right, thanks, Joe. Mr. Davey.
Hey guys. So I broke into this when they were still doing field packages in news in film, 16 millimeter. So I've been around for a while, but done a mix of things from retail with the Mills Corporation. I punched a debut show of QVC, so I was multi-camera there, directed, moved into corporate production, and eventually worked my way into reality and cable type of programs. And so again, I've done a big mix of things, and founded my own company for about 26 years. And about 6 years ago, this opportunity came up to teach over at Middlebucks, and I couldn't resist, because just all being around, helping to mentor and bring new people into this world, I found so exciting and wearing so many different hats. So I saw that opportunity and seized it right away. And so here I am 6 years later, and I finally think I'm getting my feet under me.
Oh, great. So I have 4 more to go. Thanks so much, Jim.
My pleasure.
All right, Sean, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. I'm Sean. I spent about 5 years working as a morning news producer in Syracuse, Baltimore, as well as Washington, D.C. Within the past year and a half, I recently just started a job at a streaming company called Zyvit, which is based out of Langhorne, Pennsylvania. And I currently now oversee the entire production staff. We have a staff of about 8 producers. One of them is actually on here as well. And we just do live streaming constantly with all different stuff using all different types of software and hardware equipment.
Sure. You know, speaking of that person that does work with you, Sean, let's just go to one of your more difficult employees, Mr. Andrew Brown.
I resemble that remark.
I concur.
I work with Sean, just started back in August. So it's my first job in the virtual reality, really. Learning a lot. Sean's super knowledgeable, brings in a lot of experience from the production side, like he said. Unfortunately, I've known Fred. Oh, wait, no, I'm supposed to say, fortunately, I've known Fred.
I'll get my 20 bucks back now.
And I was his RA. So anybody needs any blackmail? Wait, what? This? No. Anyway, stories are for sale. But Fred, when he got involved with the teaching, reached out to me at one point to talk about everything that was going on. I thought to kind of echo what Mr. Davies said, the idea of kind of being involved and helping out a little bit with kids that are looking to get into this was kind of a cool idea. You know, hopefully keep them from making the same mistakes I made. In other words, don't go into it. But, you know, whatever Fred needs, I've been involved with the OAC for several years. I see a lot of new faces, some repeating faces. And, you know, Fred's a great guy, and he's really doing his best to keep the kids up to date. So it's great to be able to pitch in and, you know, help them make sure they're doing everything in the now instead of, like, I don't know, A/B roll edit still or something.
Well, you know, a lot of films getting popular again. So, but yeah, you know what? It's actually great because Drew and I went to college together. I went to Kutztown in the early 90s. And it is funny that we have these conversations on how much the industry has changed and how much all of us here, for the most part, have had to kind of adapt and watch how it's all evolved into, you know, if you'd have told me I'd be doing this now, I'd say you were crazy. And, you know, probably some of you can probably, you know, make that same comment. So it is nice to have some people from the way back that you can kind of still have these conversations with about how things have changed. So
the way back, Fred, it's way
and back in the 1990s. All right, Bill, you're up.
Hello, all. I'm Bill. I used to work with Andrew Brown. He got me involved with this, and I'm very thankful for him. I was laid off at the beginning of COVID, and after a wonderful 3-month vacation for the first time in like 20 years, which was great, by the way. I mean, losing the job kind of sucked, but the 3-month vacation, that was... I started my own company doing what I was doing before. So I do a mix of video depositions and legal work. But then, like so many of you here, I had to pivot into live streaming as well. So I've been doing a lot of live streaming for corporate events, nonprofits, and churches as well. So between all that and the depositions, busier than I was before, but I'm working for myself now, which is a nice change of pace. So yeah, that's me.
Cool, thank you. And last but not least, Miss Amy DeLellis, who is muted. There you go.
I am muted. I'm not anymore. I'm Amy DeLellis. I work at Central Monco. I'm a special education coordinator, and I also do work-based studies, meaning co-op internships, which I'm hoping that at some point we can start back up again. I know it's a topic on your agenda, but it would be nice to get some kids out to do some interns, which is unpaid, but to give them some experience, hopefully in the second semester, if they're, you know, some businesses that are close by that students can go to, because we don't have them all in our building right now. So it'll be wonderful if we could get some kids out there to get some experience.
All right, thank you. Awesome. So I'll tell you what, we just used pretty much half the meeting doing introductions. So we'll get started with the agenda right now. So if it's okay, let's take a look. Did anybody get a chance? I posted them up. I just put them in the chat again. If anybody would like to approve the meetings from, back in November when we had our last meeting. So all anybody has to do is say, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from back in the fall, and someone second.
I'll make a motion to approve, Jim.
All right, thanks, Jim. Second?
I'll second.
All right, thanks, Drew. Okay. So we're just going to move into new business, and this is where I'm going to talk a lot. So if you need me to slow down, raise your hand, ask a question, no problem. But just to kind of go through. So on the agenda, the first thing we talk about is our cohort model. And that just kind of explains how we're doing everything at Central Monco. So we've spent a tremendous amount of time setting up, and that's the next part of the agenda. The agenda is the health and safety plan, which I will send you a link to I'm going to send you a bunch of links in the email when this whole meeting's done as a recap. But we spent a considerable amount of time setting up a health and safety plan, and we're one of the few schools that have been open since September, and knock on wood, not had any type of outbreaks or anything. So we've been pretty fortunate that the buildings being clean. We're very aware and protective of the students, so we have a whole system down. We have extra staff to take care of that. And the way the cohort is set up, so basically it does change. It could change tomorrow, but the way that it's been is we have returning students are in the class 1 day a week. So for those of you that don't know, we have class, usually we'd have class 5 days a week for 2 hours. So instead of that now, for example, Luke, his school comes 1 day a week for 5.5 hours. They come from 7:30 for 5 hours, 7:30 to 12:30. So they're kind of cramming that whole week into 1 day, and then the other hours that they're not getting in is all is virtual, or what they call asynchronous. So we post a project, he works on it. So it does fit that 10 hours that they would usually get. And that's for students that were in the building last year. All the new students, so first year students, brand new students, are all virtual. So we've actually taken the responsibility. Kevin is actually working with all the returning students in the classroom when they're in, and it's usually never more than 5 or 6 kids because of social distancing. And then I have, so that actually equals out for Kevin about 25 or 27 students. And I've taken on working with all the first years, which is 55. And we had a crazy amount of new students this year, and it's great. But they are definitely struggling with, the first year, thinking they were going to go to the tech school, and now they're all virtual. But we've done a pretty good job keeping them on board. But that's kind of how our cohort is set up now, where we have this hybrid schedule. So, and it does change. We're hoping in January we'll have any students that are first years, but they're either 11th or 12th grade. So it's possible to have a senior come for their very first year, and that's it. And then that's a bad position for them, because then you're really not getting much in that 1 year. So we're going to start letting them back in too. So that's kind of how the cohort is set up right now. And then I'll get more into how we teach and the curriculum and all that fun stuff. But for anybody that does, when I send the link, you can read our exhaustive health and safety plan. Like I said, other schools have actually started modeling after it. It's pretty nice that they spent all the time. We had a big committee over the summer and put all that stuff together. So I'll move on if that's okay. The next one is our curriculum, which is a big piece of this right now, is our program of study. So what I'll do is I will share my screen with you real quick and show you some of the stuff that we have going on. Okay, everybody see that? Okay, so that's my YouTube channel right now. That's one of the many things we'll be showing you. And so I'll bring this up real quick. So if you go to our classroom website, so I'm kind of float around and show you everything that's going on, but we've had this website. Many of you saw this. But we've done this for years. I guess we were very fortunate to get in front of this when, all this stuff happened. But, obviously when we taught visual communications, we've been doing this for eight or 9 years now, building websites because that's part of the curriculum. So when we went virtual, I think some of the kids were like, oh, because as soon as it happened, we're like, go to the website, all the work's on there. So, I've just been taking this opportunity being home and when I am working virtually with the students to focus on our website. But everything you could possibly need to know is on here. I'll send you the link. But the reason I bring it up is our task list is here. We are super fortunate because our task list was actually updated. And I guess you could say they got rid of a lot of the excess or things that aren't really covered anymore, or they were more simplified or combined into one. And the tasks are what we have to teach the student. For example, apply basic principles of composition, apply basic principles of using a camera and focus. So these are the things the kids get graded on all the time. So our task list now is actually nice, and not because it's 30 or 40 tasks shorter. It just makes more sense. It's more relevant. There was a lot of stuff that was in there that wasn't really, dare I say, related to what we were doing. So this is actually very nice. It gives us more time to focus on the nitty gritty. So I would say if anybody, has any questions about it, please let me know. But it's a pretty straightforward. It's broken into categories: graphic design, media composition, photography, web design, and video. I like this task list, to be perfectly honest, because this is everything you do in industry. Some people think, well, all I do is sound and that's it. Not really. The way things are going now, you have to be master of all trades, and luckily you only get one paycheck, so it's not confusing. So, please feel free to review that at your leisure. The next thing would be, and if Joe, I think that's why you popped in, is to discuss SOAR credits.
Thank you, Fred.
Yep.
And so SOAR is Pennsylvania focused, from Pennsylvania Department of Education, and SOAR awards credits to students who graduate from career and tech education programs who decide to enroll in some post-secondary schools that accept, that would accept those credits. So one of the criteria, of course, is to have the task list completed. So that was awesome, Fred, that you had the task list up there. Another requirement, of course, is grade point average, et cetera. And then the final criteria is an end of course assessment. Now, we generally say it's the NOCTI score, because if you're new to the committee, you'll learn a little bit about NOCTI as we go on. And if you've been either a student or on the board or in the committee for a minute, then you would know that NOCTI is the test we give our seniors. So last year we were not able to give the NOCTI test because it's not only written, it's also a hands-on portion. So the criteria last year for SOAR was all of the standards other than the NOCTI, or end of course assessment. And we did have a few students who took advantage of SOAR. Traditionally, our school, we send a lot of students from our baking and pastry arts and culinary, and a lot of them go to Montgomery County Community College because of the excellent program that Montgomery County Community College has in culinary arts and baking. So some of our students here have other plans and may or may not decide to go to a school that accepts SOAR. But that's really it. Like, there's, in other words, the guidance right now, Fred, that we're going by is last year's criteria, which they waived the NOCTI requirement. So it would generally come back on you and Kevin to say, hey, this student met the objective, met all the task list requirements. And, I think, as Fred said, last year as a new program, it's like, are we even given the NOCTI? And then, what's the task list? So it's information that we have. It's definitely going to be something that your students, I know, will benefit from going forward. And I guess that's the official reason I came tonight. But the unofficial reason I came tonight is because Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Folk are just doing such a phenomenal job in our school. It's not been an easy task. And then to ask them to put together their advisory committee and for this many people to show up, it really, to me, reinforces, well, the committee's commitment to you guys, right? And to our school. And really more important than anything, the committee's commitment to our students. So that's the real message tonight, is to say thank you for sticking with us, for knowing that this is a challenge, but hearing your input from the industry and the field is really encouraging for us to then take back to our students, right? And say, hey, even in the midst of a pandemic, there's opportunity out there, and it's not time to quit. It's really time to re-engage the skills that we have and satisfy our clients or customers' needs. So that was the real message tonight. And I thank you, Fred, for giving me a few minutes on your committee. I will stay here for a few more minutes, but if I don't get a chance to say happy holidays to everyone, I would like to say that now. And just one more time to Luke. Luke, you got called up the second time when I needed some more help. So you know, he's not here, so I won't necessarily name him, but you and your partner really came through with our 9th grade tour video, and I'm looking forward to the end result. So thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Fred.
You got it. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
And just to kind of piggyback a little bit on that, like, you know, going back to that task list again, the task list is great because when somebody graduates school, you say, well, what did you do? I did all kinds of cool stuff. Well, what stuff did you do? So to be able to show a list of tasks, like I worked on a camera, I understand what the basic principles of photography are. I know how to, you know, code an HTML page, like things like that. So when they graduate, you can actually print their task list out. It's like a transcript. And for, you know, to be able to show that to an employer, another school, it's impressive, along with their portfolio. So they can actually say, you see these 7 tasks I accomplished, here's the project I did that went with it. So, you know, some people think it's just more paperwork, but it's great because any student could easily drop in and, you know, and understand what they're going to learn for the next 3 years. Okay. And that's, you know, that's a really nice thing to be able to have. And then the other thing too, is I kind of bumped over it a little bit, but on the agenda where it says OAC member effect on businesses and organizations, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just, you know, kind of discussing, you know, the importance of these committees, you know, really, it's always, you're always being told what to do by a higher authority, which, you know, the Pennsylvania Department of Education, but it is nice to have these committees because ultimately you discuss the direction the program's going in, what type of equipment we should be using, because you're the ones in industry, you know, to recommend a certain software or a certain piece of equipment because you as a professional in industry are using that and you recommend it. So, you know, we do understand and appreciate the value. So how did I do, Amy?
You did whatever you did well. I don't care what Drew says about you, and I'm not paying him for stories.
I'll give them to you free.
Oh, man. All right, moving on.
I've got pictures.
So the next part, we did the task list and S.O.A.R credits. One other quick second to piggyback on that. My son goes to Eastern Tech I live in Horsham, so it's Hampton Horsham School District, and he goes to Eastern. Yep, he goes to Eastern Center Tech School, and he's in the networking cybersecurity program. And he's fortunate enough to have dual enrollment. So when he graduates this year, he just turned 18. When he graduates in June, he's going to go to Montco because they gave him 12 credits, almost an entire semester, to go to Montco, and they have a cybersecurity program. It's a 2-year degree. Hopefully he likes it and he stays in there for 2 years. And then they have a transfer agreement to Drexel, Temple, Penn College of Tech. So it's great to have all these articulations in these agreements. I mean, just the fact that my son's going to save almost an entire semester of time and money, it's great. And it really kind of dangles the carrot for why you need to, you know, keep, you know, a lot of kids love to say, I've been in school for 12 years. 4 more is not a big deal, or 2 more. You know, they say the next 4 years of your life will dictate the next 40. So it's just, you just grind it out. And we're fortunate enough to be right down the road from one of the best community colleges on the East Coast, I'll say. So, we're very fortunate, and we look forward to building more opportunities. And, Kevin's living proof. He's a graduate of Monco. He went through the video and sound program, and
I'm also on the board for the said program.
there you go. Gee, I smell opportunities. So I will jump real quick to the next thing, our curriculum delivery model. So looking at my screen again, if you look over here, so we have, and I've said this before, take a little bit of time when you have it to go through our classroom website. This is our go-to. All the students can access this at any given time. There's the class info page, our student handbook, calendar, how parents can connect to the Schoology, which is our, the learning management system, the Power School, which is the grading system, how to even connect to a Zoom class, because technology is new for a lot of people. The S.O.A.R, which we talked about earlier, the different groups we have. You want to learn more about the OAC. So there's a lot. And then we have our marking periods, exploratory programs. There's usually more to this than that, but I've literally turned half of the stuff off as to not confuse all the new students. I literally just I usually have all 4 marking periods laid out and all the work and everything, but rather than scare these kids, I turn on marking period 1, marking period 2 starts, I turn on marking period 2, and I make those pages visible for them to look at. But, right now I can kind of show you. In the beginning, we were working on, because we didn't have computers, a lot of them had Chromebooks, so they couldn't do a lot of in-depth work in video and sound. So we had them actually work in Google Docs and drawings, where we had them do this whole career research project, which is similar. I got the great idea from Jim, where the kids it's a great way to learn about the kids, what they're doing, and then to do a presentation. Well, this kind of goes a step farther and say, look, you've graduated, you're in the field. This is the project where you're going to have to do a written proposal to the bank saying, hey, I have a business I want to start, and this is my business model. And then they actually have to go and use Google Drawings to do a blueprint or a floor plan of the business that they want to go into. So it's all broken down into days. I won't read the whole thing to you, but I always give them examples on what I'm looking for. And then once again, there's always lectures that go with it. And our program is broken usually into sections, 2-week sections. They have a big project like this. They have an assignment like an exploratory, photography, sound. Then they have a quiz. And then sometimes they have discussion posts and things. There's usually 4 things they have to do in that 2-week span. But once again, going to lectures, they have all the vocabulary related to that topic, and then tutorials and videos on how to use the vector-based software to create these blueprints, and then examples. And then examples of what these studios should look like. What does a professional recording studio look like? Designing a studio. So then ultimately it ends where the kids have to go in and design their own blueprint. And there's some really cool stuff that they did that I'll actually show you real quick, because the next part of it is our new system called Schoology. Every school has a learning management system. So we use Schoology, where this is the springboard to the website I just showed you. So students come in and actually see what projects. So we have it real simplified. We have first marking period, second marking period, new students, returning students. We have to kind of, for the lack of over explaining everything so they know where to go, level 1, first year, exploratory, and then they see the project. So they could go in here and say, okay, let's go to the second marking period. Here's the actual project I just showed you on the website, Design Your Workspace. So the kids will actually see this, and I'll post a thing saying, look, here's the instructions. And then this takes you to the links that I just showed you. But you can actually go in, and I'll show you what some of the students did. They did some really cool stuff, having never done something like this before. Here's her blueprint. She did the legend. She has everything laid out, conference room, her studio. So they spent, and this is just in Google Docs, Google Drawings. And some kids took a really big opportunity to kind of make some cool stuff, and kids have never done this before. And then they went in and did their written proposals. So, you know, even without having top end technology, we just figured out a way to give them something relevant that they can relate to keep not just busy work. So this is something when they graduate that they can hang on to. And now they know how to write a business proposal. They know how to design a blueprint, a floor plan, shop for equipment, know what software they need. And this is first year. And then it just kind of compounds on that in the future. But that is been a really good component for us, is to have Schoology now, because the quizzes are in there. You can look here. It shows how the quiz is broken down, how many points, what the kids did. It's really, really neat. And this is something I've been looking forward to, because we always had that disconnect where you give out a project and in 2 weeks you grade it. Now you can put something out and a half an hour later they can all submit and grade it, and it's all in one big happy place. And like I said, these quizzes are great, and it's based on the vocabulary that you see at the beginning of the lecture. So that is that. And the last two things, here's our class or our school website, Central Monco's. This is the great big site that our site is connected to. So this is for the whole entire school. So if you want to learn more about the school, the programs, our health and safety plan is on here. But I'll give you all these links. But we've put a lot of time into this. I'll be honest, the last few years, not that it was my responsibility, but it was just there to say we had a website. But with COVID and the need for virtual, they've done an amazing job getting this site up and running and keeping everybody informed of what's going on. They even set up a virtual learning hub for all the sending schools that send to us, and how to log in to get to things, first time access. So tremendous amount of time was being spent getting all this stuff set up. But the beauty of it is it's done. And, you just keep it maintained at this point. Last but not least, I take a lot of personal pride. Mr. Folk and I have been working on. We have our own YouTube channel, just for the fact that all this stuff has to end up somewhere. When I do Zoom meetings, I record them. So, because not every student can get to every meeting when we have it. Our live sessions are Monday through Thursday. We only need to do 2. We're required by the school to do 2 live sessions per week. We do 4, just to keep the kids interested. We have office hours every day. We do live sessions from 1 to 1:30, and then office hours from 1:45 to 2:30. So parents and students can jump in, and guardians and ask any questions or any help. We're available 24/7. But you can see here just the playlist we have set up. We're starting to set up playlists with just learning how to use a Mac, tutorials, our live sessions. So as of now, since the beginning of the year, we've recorded 26 classes that students can go in and see, what I covered, what Mr. Folk covered. And, when you go to them, you can kind of see, I'm not going to play it, but whenever I do them, I put down here what we're covering and what we're working on. So the students can go back in and just kind of remediate. There's one of my cool backgrounds, to just kind of go in and remediate and watch whatever class and information they missed for that day. Okay. So if you get a chance, hey, feel free to subscribe. But I usually send this out to the parents. I do a weekly video update, as a matter of fact, to the parents. Let me go back to that. So I try to keep the parents involved. Every week I send out, this is what they're working on, this is what they should be doing. They're 5 minutes or less. And I really try to keep everybody involved. We text message, we send emails, students, parents, guardians, any possible way that we can communicate is what we're doing. So we're definitely trying to keep everybody, in the know, because I hate it when parents or guardians are like, I didn't know they had to do that, or nobody told me this. So as a parent with 2 kids in school virtually right now, it's a challenge. And I'd like to think I know what I'm doing, but it's great that the kids can go in and see all these videos, tutorials, and, really be able to go in and see what needs to be done. So we got a lot of stuff, and this is what we're going to keep doing. Even when COVID's gone and hopefully it'll be just a memory, we're still going to keep a lot of these tutorials. These are things that kids are going to learn every year. So it's nice to be able to have all that stuff. So I know I went quick, but that is how we're trying to address the needs of all the students. And I'll toot my horn. I think we're doing a pretty good job. I literally can't think of anything else other than training pigeons. And, maybe, who knows? But I think we do a pretty good job keeping everybody involved. So if anybody has questions or comments about that, we can move on to the next thing. And
Purchases.
what's that?
Equipment purchases is the next thing.
There you go. So we do this. We have what's called a 5-year equipment plan, pie in the sky, things we'd like to get based upon your recommendations. I can actually bring that form up real quick. Oh, that's for the chairperson. Don't look. So let me click on this link. So what we do is, just to show you, please list any equipment that your committees feel that should be ordered. It must be at least $3,000. I love it because we get to spend money. But this is for potential things down the road. We were very lucky. It's our 2nd year in the program. So we have this beautiful studio. Everything's hooked up, cameras. We have a sound room. I will also add to, this will probably make some teachers jealous. We were extremely fortunate to obtain 60 MacBook laptops. We are leasing computers because we just got to, Mr. Folk is holding his up. We were extremely fortunate that we were able to kind of, post the case that we cannot teach this class without technology. You cannot do the things, and as all of you would know in industry, you cannot teach this stuff on a Chromebook. So we were due for new equipment as well as our visual communications program. And we had a bunch of brand new, beautiful iMacs, but they just weren't cutting it with video editing. So we actually gave all those to the visual communications program, and we got all the laptops. So we've spent the last few weeks having pickup days for the students, getting a 13-inch MacBook Pro with the full Adobe suite, and the Apple suite too, which is Logic Pro, Final Cut Pro, compressor, and Premiere Pro from Adobe. And we've been really fortunate. They literally just got these laptops right around Thanksgiving. So
yep. They're running the Intel chips, quad core, 16 gigabits. They run Premiere Pro pretty smoothly. I've been having them edit 4K footage, and there's been very little glitches on it. The current project they're running is 5 camera angle edits, and they've been running smoothly.
Did you give them mice too, or are you being a bunch of masochists?
A bunch of masochists.
I recommend you give them some mice.
So you know what? It's funny. I have a rule in the class. I'm like, I will not help you unless you have a mouse plugged in. So for every laptop, our goal is in the classroom when they come into class, they'll have a monitor to plug into to run duals, and a keyboard and a mouse. And the sad part is like when we got the iMacs, first thing I did was get rid of all the wireless keyboards and mice because they either lost them, stole the cord, or everything was dead. So I bought the Mac Alley keyboard and mouse setup. And so because I'm actually right now, my like many of you, my computer's hooked up to dual monitor. I actually have 3 monitors going, including my laptop. And that's how you work in this industry. You got all your tools on one, your footage on another, and your sound on another, and your email on another. So instead of working on this tiny screen, and I can't see it, so they're going to come in, have the monitor, the mouse, and the keyboard. But like I said, we were extremely fortunate. We've started dropping off laptops, and I've just started teaching the first-year kids how to use them, basic. I'm teaching them iMovie and GarageBand because it comes with it. It's fairly simple and straightforward, and then eventually they'll start getting into Premiere and Logic Pro and things like, and Audition and things like that. But this is a great fun way to get them introduced to it, and I know it works because it comes with the Mac. And then we'll start doing Photoshop, Illustrator, some introductory stuff. But as I said, super fortunate to get 60 laptops. We have a brand new studio. If anybody has any sort of recommendations, you can think about it now. You can email it to me later, as long as it's over 3,000. I had a thought, and Kevin agrees. I would love to be able to teach drones. It is a big part of what's coming. And also our school is big on certifications. we can give these kids drone certifications like $130 or $150. Adobe certs are that much, if not more. But I think drones, everybody loves drones. They're cool, they're fun, but they provide an actual purpose in industry, doing music videos, doing flyovers for construction sites to measure the size of building materials that are left. So it's a big, niche that can be filled. But if anybody has anything that they would like to kind of recommend, Kevin, you can kind of speak to, we have the cameras. I think we have all the sound. Are there any big?
We have some cameras. Yeah, I wouldn't hate it if somebody recommended some Sony A7s or maybe a Steadicam or two.
Oh, Steadicam would be great. We don't have that at all. Yeah.
Sound wise, I did get a new studio desk donated to the school by a local music venue, Chaplin's in Spring City. Ooh, I see someone's got a gimbal there.
Yeah, you got gimbals yet? You need a gimbal.
We do not have gimbals. I would love a gimbal. Yep. Down the line, I would love to get some universal audio equipment in there. Maybe some new condenser mics. We did get a bunch of new shotgun mics for our DSLRs, and we got a bunch of portable LED panels that I'm actually currently using one right now. But if anyone else has any ideas, we're open to it.
Yeah, just let us know. Take a look. If there's a piece of software.
How about real good holiday gifts for your OAC committee members?
Yeah, how about a microphone like that for your coworker?
Yeah. Why do I have a thought that Drew's going to ask me for a laptop?
We're just first crack at the used ones.
There you go. And that's the thing. Like we actually, because this is the first time doing it, we're leasing them. But, students and parents have already asked, is there going to be an option to buy? I said, that's something we can definitely look into. But I mean, it was $80,000 to lease all this stuff. I mean, it was not to be taken lightly, but obviously a necessity. You can't work on a car without a set of tools. And, our main set of tools is a camera, a microphone, and a laptop. So luckily they understood that. And I tell you, I was quite surprised and pleasantly surprised that we were able to get all that equipment in, especially with getting our numbers so high. I said, look, if we don't get this technology in, our numbers are going to go south. So we've been pretty fortunate. But if you can think of anything, like I said, when I send the email out, I will gladly take it. We'll do the minutes eventually over the next few days and get that done. But we always do that. I like to put a 5-year equipment plan together too. Like every year we get 5 new computers just to update, because they get old, or 10 new monitors. So if there's anything you can think of in that kind of context, we'll put down the new Adobe suite, which we're fortunate enough to get through the IU, and it's pretty. I think we have like 80 licenses, so we're pretty fortunate. And that's for Apple. The Adobe, I think, is over 100. So if there's anything you think down the road, we'd be pretty open to whatever recommendations you'd like to make.
Have you looked at an Adobe Enterprise account for the school?
Actually, I think
that's what we were running.
Yep.
Nice.
So we got that through the Montgomery County intermediary, because we just kept saying it's kind of ridiculous to go to each computer and log in with an individual account. And that actually, it's great that we got these laptops, but it opened up a whole can of worms with, learning how to set them all up and image them, and what software. Like we use something Jamf to be able to do updates remotely and log in and remote desktop. So, I complained, when are we getting the laptops? And we got them, like, oh God, we got the laptops. We have so much to do. But it's, like I said, it's awesome because it's a one-time deal. We learned how to set up the laptops, the distribution days. Like I didn't even have pens for people to sign the paperwork for distribution. It's just funny stuff like that. But every time, we don't look at it as a nuisance. Like, all right, this is the first time we're going to come up with a system and we're going to rock and roll next year. So it's nice that we're able to kind of work as a team on getting that stuff done. So
what cameras do you have right now? Video cameras? DSLRs?
Yeah, Fred, you want to answer the DSLRs?
Sure. We have the Nikon, the D7500s with the 18 and 140. It was a nice kit. to be able to, mostly I'll be honest, it's mostly for still work when we do photography, but it also records video, and we have the mics that go on top.
There you go.
How many of them do you have, Fred?
4.
Okay.
Soon to be 5. I'm pretty sure I put in for another one, hopefully. But we'll have 5, and then we have some legacy stuff like a D300, which still is perfectly fine. And then Kevin,
for the video camcorders, we have Sony XD cams, the 4K ones. And we have 4 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to get a mirrorless though.
Sure.
Just to show them some of that low lightness.
Yep. Just watch the lenses on that. The minute you pull them off, you're getting dust on the sensor.
Yeah, true.
So with kids, I've kind of stayed away for that one reason. I found even in the industry, the minute we're working out there, you got to, turn it upside down, quickly change the lens. Otherwise, you're cleaning the sensor every other use.
Fair.
Yeah.
I wish they made a camera that was like 28 to 500, real bright, and the lens never came up. It would save a lot of problems.
Well, they have new model cameras out now that they finally made it so they actually record in the camera. They're about $5,000 for the body. They're they're cubes nowadays, but these things are DSLR like.
Okay.
So Sony has them, and so does Canon. I don't know about Nikon, but they are similar to the feel of a DSLR, but they're a grade higher, and they can record media right onto the camera as opposed to on an SD card.
Yeah.
And there are some attributes that are really, really nice that make them more video. They don't shoot stills, believe it or not, but when it comes to video production, they're really, really nice. And I can shoot you the model numbers on them.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great. Bill, what were you holding up?
Is that a Blackmagic?
Yeah, Blackmagic 4K. This is good. It's not too expensive. Interchangeable lenses. It's micro four thirds. So it's video. It does still, but it's great. I'm a big fan.
Awesome.
They make a 6K too, which has some advantages for post cropping and reframing down to 4. But this is great. I use it for streaming sometimes and for different shoots. So big fan. I got a cage on it. I'm clumsy.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, please send the link to that. I also wanted to add too, I know some of you have some prior commitments, so if you have to bow out, please just let me know. Put in the chat, goodbye, happy holidays. You have met your commitment for the meeting, but we're almost done. We're kind of in the home stretch. Actually, those kind of go into the 5-year equipment plan and that equipment purchase. That equipment purchase rec that I showed you for over $3,000. We're fortunate enough to apply, like the other tech schools, for grant money, and it's free stuff, but it has to be over $3,000. So Visual Communications bought a direct-to-garment, shirt printer, and we got a $5,000 camcorder years back. So, any big ticket items that usually we couldn't afford, this grant actually pays 100%. So if there's any big ticket items that you would, like to be involved in recommending, that would be great too.
So does that work? Like it has to be a single item worth over 3,000?
Yeah, because you know what? We've tried and we were lucky, but they really clamped down. Like we would do the location videographer kit where it was a camera and a laptop and a bag, and they're like, nah, can't do that. So it has to be one item that's worth, like you can't even get, like I was able to get like a Nikon camera kit that was like $3,200 and it was 6 things, but it was all, it was skewed as one item on Adorama. So you could kind of get away with that. But
okay.
But the 5-year equipment plan kind of covers the lower tiered items. So it's not as big of a deal, but it's the 3,000 and over is like if I had $3,000, I'd get this. So if there's anything, and as an OAC member, these are things that you are more than welcome to come in and check out and demo them for the students. So but we do like to kind of share the technology and work together. If anybody wants to come in, use it with the kids, do something, it's great. So it's something that everybody can enjoy.
Fred, you say that, and then I was disappointed because this was the year I was looking forward to. We'd all talked last year about you doing a couple field trips with the kids out, obviously not happening.
No, it's a bummer. Yeah, it's been rough.
B, a couple times us coming in as like guest speakers to do some things with the kids in the studios, and it would have been fun to see everything in action.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully next year it gets back to using your brand new studio.
Yep. If not, I'm buying everybody those giant hamster balls, and you can just wheel into the classroom and say hi to everybody. Because it's, but that's a big thing with me is, and I'm sure you're already all tired of hearing me talk at this point, but the students get tired of hearing of me. And it's great to have people come in from industry with that level of excitement and professionalism, and they're out in the field and they're working. We'd love to get, I love to get guest speakers in and visitors. So I'm all about that. And also getting students to visit locations, whether it's, and Amy can attest to that, whether it's a job shadow, an internship, a co-op opportunity, they're in our program for 2 years. They need to get out and start, putting things to practice. So, and that's one thing I would love to get somebody in at least once a month. That's a lofty goal, but hey, why not do a mix of both? If somebody like yourself, Drew, if you're stuck at work but you still have an hour to contribute because you're working on a cool project, we'll Zoom you in, and then eventually get you in. And
I don't think my boss would let that happen at work.
I'll talk to him. But no.
What free hour would he have?
Well, every time I call him, I hear snoring in the background. So my bad.
I've seen him on Facebook. I've quoted.
All right. So yeah, that is a big thing that we would like to do. But yeah, so that really covers the equipment plan. And like I said, I'll send out a real nice recap in the morning with all this stuff. Work-based studies and opportunities. I think Amy covered that. Do you have anything else about that, Amy, or no?
Sorry, you caught me. I was eating. No.
Okay.
Not anything. It'd be, again, wonderful even to have just guest speakers to come in, like you were discussing, to even show some of the kids how to use the equipment you already have from a different perspective.
Sure.
Not that it can be used a different way, but somebody in industry might know how to use it and have, some more insight. Not that you guys don't, because you certainly are wonderful people and teachers. But any opportunity for an internship, even not even a paid co-op, just an internship would be great.
And speaking of that, here's a really good segue. He just joined a little while ago, but Mr. Dan Sheridan is here. He is the commissioner for the Collegiate Water Polo Association, which is actually located right in Bridgeport. We've had a great relationship with them, having students as interns go out and do location shoots. Dan, how you doing? If you can introduce and just kind of put some words in, thanks.
I can tell you that we've really enjoyed the relationship. It's gone on. I was looking back. I think it's been over 10 years now, something of that nature.
I remember,
it's been a while.
Yeah, you approached me at the school.
Yeah, and we've had at least well over a dozen kids in that 10 years come in and do internships with us. Everything from video to photography. They'll go with us on trips. They'll go out to sites. We train them on site for what we're looking for specifically, as far as shooting sports photography. And they can build the resume. And some of the kids have gotten really, really good. I mean, I don't mean this like to puff anybody up. I'm saying there was a time where we had this championship at Bucknell and we took out 2 kids. And these 2 kids had been with us for a couple of years. They were shooting better than the professional that we had hired. So we sent the professional home on Sunday and kept the kids there.
That's awesome.
And I'm not exaggerating. These kids, some of them, if they apply themselves, they'll shoot easily 40,000, 50,000 pictures by the end of their one semester. So they get enough activity with it. They get enough experience. And for some of the kids, we look at it like almost as much a social responsibility as it is kind of a benefit to help the organization. Because there are a couple of kids that, and Fred will attest to this, that hadn't been out of Norristown, let alone out of state or on a plane or wherever. And we go to all over the country. I mean, we have sites that we shoot. Our conference spans 37 states. So when we put a kid on a plane or we take him to another state, it's a great experience to see the kids kind of grow. So I would recommend it heartily. If you can open up wherever your business is to make it happen. I won't tell you it's not a labor of love. You have to spend some time with them, and you got to be patient to train them along the way. But boy, when you get some of these diamonds in the rough that are just amazing, it's fun. It really is fun.
Very cool. Thanks. And you know what? Just to expand a little bit, Dan and they've done such a great job. They come in, they actually interview the kids. They leave job applications on the counter, and the kids fill them out. And then Dan will set up interviews, and he'll sit in the back room with them and do like a 20-minute interview. And some of these kids have never had an interview before, and Dan will just work with them on those skills. But then you'll see some kids in the class go, "Oh, I forgot to fill this out. Can I fill it out, get an interview real quick?" Dan's like, "No, you have to schedule another time to do it if I have time for you." And the kids are like, "Oh," so it's nice. And then, like I said, Dan gives these kids professional level equipment, and they go out and they travel, planes, trains, and automobiles to get to where they need to go and shoot these college level water polo sporting events. And Dan's even been gracious enough. Some of these kids got really nice camera kits as like thank yous. So Dan, we definitely, you weren't in earlier, but between our program and Mr. Bross's program now, we have like 110 students. So
I saw that on the email. I was blown away.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking to expand in video as well as, traditionally with photography. So, good things. I'm hoping for real good things when all the dust settles. So hang in there. We'll have, you're going to have to put a revolving door at your building.
On that note, though, Fred, are they still letting the kids go out and kind of do stuff?
At this point, no.
No.
Most is the park down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, we were lucky enough to be able to do a video tour of the building earlier this week and last week, because with our health and safety plan, you have to enter through the outside of the building. You can't even walk the halls. There's arrows, the directions. So
how'd that go? You told me you were going to use the drone to kind of fly around.
No, I don't know where you got that from, but anyway.
Yeah. I think it was when you were drinking with my wife on Friday.
Yep. But you know what, Liz, like that would be an amazing opportunity for Luke when he wants to get into it. So that's kind of great that Dan was able to pop in and talk a little bit about that. But we always try to provide, really, really cool opportunities. And, it's funny, Liz's son is like our go-to gopher. We volunteer him to do half the things he does in the program, but he does it with a smile and he does a great job. And we have no problem ever recommending him in the future for doing stuff, but he'll take whatever gets thrown at him. He's like, "Yep, whatever, let's do it. Let's get it done." And that's the kind of people that Dan looks for.
Brad, I also wanted to mention, Dan was talking about the overnight trips. If the students are under the age of 18, of course, there are parental permissions that go along with that. Just so you all know that we just can't voluntarily throw a kid out there and say, "Hey, go have fun." Dan is very good about talking to the parents and getting their permission so they understand, what's happening with that. I just want to make sure everybody knew that, because typically a co-op and internship don't involve overnight trips anywhere. But this is a wonderful opportunity that Dan has given to us, like he said many years ago. So he makes sure he follows whatever he needs to follow with parents and the guidelines.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's also, we also talked to him about the idea that they can't travel with us unless their grades are up. So it's a little bit of an incentive for them to be able to make sure that they're doing their work.
Yep. And like you said too, some of these kids have never stayed in a hotel, never been on a bus, never been on a plane. They see a buffet, they're like, "You mean I can eat all that food right there?" And it really is, it's great to see these kids when they come back have this confidence level, that a lot of kids don't have nowadays, and the communication and the skills to be out and talk to people. It's great. So that's definitely something we like to foster. And, like any parent, I'd love to get kids out of the building. so I don't have to deal with them. But no, but thank you, Dan. We definitely, and anybody else that's interested in helping us, let us know. We would love to work with you and help these kids, because in this industry, it's hard to get your foot in, or to give some, to give a 17 or 16-year-old kid a $4,000 camera and say, yeah, go shoot this footage. Not a lot of people do that. So, but thank you for that. So really, the last thing we kind of have is our facility inspection. Amy, how are we supposed to do that? Or am I supposed to?
Well, some people, like automotive I was in before I came into your meeting, he actually went into the building, got permission to videotape the classroom and show the equipment and showed what the facility looked like.
Yeah, you got one of your students to do it, Fred.
Huh? Yeah, right. Well, what's funny?
Kevin.
Kevin had kids, but guess what? If you go on our class website, you go to the main page, there's a video tour of the program.
All right, good. So then you've done it. If you're going there, everything's on our website, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll send the link tomorrow. But as soon as you hit the landing page, 2 of our students did a brief but a quick walkthrough of the sound room, the video room, the computers, so you can kind of get an idea for that. And but we would like to actually do a more in-depth. I actually thought they did too, Kevin. I'm not 100%. I thought we had Roman and Broden do it again, a better one.
No, they did the Mac video.
Oh, okay. So, but that's all right, because like I said, it's a 1.5 minute video for prospective students to look at. I think it's good enough to kind of see what the facilities look like. So I'll just, do I do the form, Amy?
There's a form that's in the minutes that I sent to you.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Whoever the chairperson is, I believe, does that.
All right, I'll send it off to them.
Yeah, and then they can just, I've had a couple actually, as my computer's been going off while we're on here, with the feedback. So once you get all that stuff together, I'll send it to you to add to your minutes.
Okay.
And your new members that have filled stuff out, you'll get that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't really need to be that in depth. It just needs to be something that they can see and say, yes, it looks clean. Yes, it looks like it's in good shape. There's check boxes on that sheet.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you were in early enough. I mentioned that I'm going to send an email after this in the morning of all the links to all the stuff and all the attachments, rather than just post it all into the chat right now. I'm just going to send it all out.
And that's fine. And one thing you were talking about with the equipment requisition, if it's over a certain amount, if you have members that are going to make a motion, you might want to do a blanket motion right now, and then get a consensus via email and a second to actually do it that way if you're looking to get equipment. And I don't know if that's something that you're doing, but admin wants to see that you've made a motion to purchase or look into certain types of equipment, and then have somebody second that motion and then put that in your minutes.
All right. So who has not made a motion yet for us to spend stuff?
Well, you can make the motion and ask for it. It's not always a given, but.
Oh, I'll do it. I would like to make a motion.
No, you can't do it. It's got to be a committee member.
I know.
And I can't do it, neither can Mr. Folk.
Okay. I'd like to step up.
Well, what do you want a motion for?
Fred?
I'm sorry. So I would like for someone to make a motion to investigate looking into equipment purchases over $3,000 that would be beneficial to the program.
I would like to make a motion to investigate Mr. McCarthy's spending over $3,000 on equipment.
I'll second that motion. And let me offer a suggestion. You mentioned the Sony cameras. Why don't you look at a Sony FX6 full frame cinema camera? It's about $6,000.
All right.
I like the sound of that.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you for that. So yes, if anybody, like I said before, for the equipment, bill for the Black Magic, and if there's anything over that 3,000, please shoot me an email and we'll put it into the minutes that, we are investigating and researching for equipment for that purchase. So did we do anything else right, Amy? Is there anything else we need to do?
I don't think so. If you have any new members, they just make sure they fill out that form, which 2 people did already. I got that.
I'm going to send that out again.
And if you have old members that have to update their address, but if the members are the same as last year and nothing has changed, do not send that form out. They don't need to fill it out, even though it's not that difficult.
If they have anything, if you need to change your address or cell phone, just click on that link and update it. But I think, so really, we talked about that NOCTI exam. Our class isn't eligible to take the NOCTI yet because our program isn't that old yet. But NOCTI, as of now, Amy, isn't being taken this year.
They haven't decided. Are you asking me?
Yes.
Okay. So PDE is up in the air about it. It depends on how much your students have been in the building. Like Upper Bucks Tech has been there full time, so they are running NOCTI. Some schools are, if they're going to get the number of hours that they need in. I don't believe that we will, but it's up to our administration as to whether or not they're going to have NOCTI. But from my perspective, being in a lot of the PSEA president's meetings, it's, if you don't have enough hours in for a student to take NOCTI, then no, they're not going to take NOCTI. And that does tie in with the S.O.A.R credits, which Mr. Dagney was talking about earlier. And they waived those S.O.A.R credits last year when kids couldn't take NOCTI because sometimes they go hand in hand depending on the school. But I don't see us taking it. And you would have to be, what, 3 years before you had to take it anyway?
Yeah, so this is only the second year of our program. So it really doesn't affect
You may not have to take it at the third year based on the fact that we're in a pandemic. So.
Yep. Gotcha. So I guess that's really, other than we're looking at having a meeting sometime in the spring, we will definitely give you a way more notice than what we had this time. Now we have all your contact info. Hopefully maybe the next one will actually be in person. We can, talk and eat a nice dinner at the school. And yes, really any other.
Who have not had the chance to attend one of these live, when you're live, the senior culinary students cook an incredibly nice dinner. I don't know if that's part of their curriculum, Fred, or not, but
actually, yeah.
I mean, from the main course down to the desserts, it's like going to a really nice restaurant and getting the good food.
Catering perspective it is. And the kids get paid to run those events too by the school. They get a nominal training type wage, depending on the year they're in, whether they're 10th, 11th, or 12th. But the desserts, my mother comes and brings containers so she can take some home for my dad.
Yeah, she does. But yes, we hopefully will be getting back to that real soon. Like I get it, nobody shows up to hear me talk. They show up for the awesome meal. So thank you for sitting through this without getting an awesome meal. But if they, for any other type of important dates, I always defer to the school website. Anything that's coming up, just refer back to that. But really, I think we're done. If anybody has anything they'd like to bring up real quick, if not, speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay, so someone can make a motion to adjourn, and I need someone to second.
Motion to adjourn this meeting.
All right, Bill.
I second.
All right, Drew. Well, once again, we ran a little bit late, but thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I'll be honest, I was really looking forward to talking to everybody. I mean, we've been really in a box, with some students. So I missed having these meetings because they are so important. And I definitely will be reaching out to I'm actually going to be reaching out to just about everybody on this committee to talk about how you've been teaching your class, how you've been dealing with these issues. And what can we do to get students in your, in working with you or you coming in and all those other fun things. So, and if anything ever comes in and you need help from us, please let us know. We would be happy to help you with any resources we have in our program. To promote whatever you need. I'd love to build a network of professionals. So whenever somebody needs help, needs a job, needs to promote a business or some sort of directive, we'll see what we can do to help you out. But thank you so much. And everybody have an awesome, safe, happy holiday. And I hope to talk to everybody soon, but keep an eyeball out tomorrow for that email. And I'll also send a link to the recording of this meeting. So if you want to, after your next Hallmark movie, you want to curl up and watch this meeting again, I will send you a link. So, but once again, thanks everybody. I can't thank you enough. I do appreciate your time.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, you too, everyone.
Bye, Charles.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, Mr. Brown. Have a great night, man.
Thanks, Bill. You too.
So yeah, what are these stories that you're going to tell me? And then I don't have to.
I knew he was gonna stick.
I've been waiting for the end. I was getting off like 5 times.